The Virginia Tech Hokies were a team that I was really high on entering the 2024 season. A big reason I was so high on them was because they had so many returning pieces on both sides of the football. Unfortunately, they didn't make the ACC championship game like I had expected them to, but they still had some great players and I would say an overall good season. One of the players who came back to school in 2024 was edge rusher Antwaun Powell-Ryland. Ryland was a big my guy had he come out of last year's draft class, but he decided to return to school for one more year and he played some really solid football for the Hokies. In an edge class that is incredibly loaded at the top, how high could we see Ryland get taken in the 2025 NFL draft class? That is what we will be going over in today's video. But hey guys, if you guys are new to the channel, consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, where for $5 a month, you guys will be given exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board, with over 500 written scouting reports, updated combine and pro day numbers, advanced analytics, and so much more that I highly recommend you guys checking it out. If you enjoy my NFL draft content, it's a very easy way to support the channel, and that will be linked in the description below. Leave a comment and let me know which prospects you guys would like to see in a future episode. And without further ado, let's take a closer look at Antwaun Powell-Ryland. Ryland started his collegiate career down in Gainesville for the Florida Gators. He transferred to Virginia Tech in 2023 after not getting a ton of playing time for Florida and has been a really nice player for the Hokies the last two seasons. In 2023, he finished the season with 48 pressures, 10 sacks, 25 tackles, and 29 run stops, and forced 3 fumbles on the season. He decided to return to school for one more year and put up even better numbers in 2024. He had 48 pressures with 14 sacks, 25 tackles, 33 run stops, and 2 forced fumbles. I love his upside, and I think he shows some really nice tools that will translate well to the NFL. The first thing that really sticks out when you watch Ryland is just how active his hands are as a pass rusher. He has a bunch of pass rush moves, whether it be an up and under, a two-hand swipe, a swim move, a spin move. Ryland has a deep pass rushing tool belt. He has so many different moves he can break out to create pressure, and I think he has a pretty high floor as a pass rusher because he is so good with his hands. Ryland plays really low to the ground. He is that prototype as a 4-3 edge rusher, and he plays with great pad level. He plays low, and he shows the ability to win with power out of his stance. He is consistently showcasing the ability to not just win with finesse, but win with power. He had a strong bull rush, and he's a very well-rounded pass rusher as a whole. I also think Ryland shows really good bend for the position. He is pretty flexible in his lower half, and he shows the ability to get around tackles, get into the backfield with good quickness, and close on the quarterback. I think that bend is one of the best traits that he has in his game, and once again, I think it's going to suit him well as a pass rusher at the next level. The biggest concern that I have about Ryland is going to be his athleticism. I wouldn't say he is a bad athlete, but he certainly isn't a great one either. He ran a 4.69 at the combine, and he had a 1.64 10-yard split. It shows up on the tape. He doesn't have great quickness into the backfield, and his explosiveness is very up and down. I don't think he is going to be a consistent speed rusher in the NFL, and that could potentially hurt his stock a little bit. I also worry about Ryland's run defense. He had the tendency to bite pretty hard on RPOs, and his gap integrity is very up and down. He just didn't make a bunch of impact plays in the run game, had some issues with missed tackles, and that concerns me. If he's going to be a 4-3 edge rusher, he needs to be more of a consistent force against the run, and as of right now, he hasn't been able to. Ryland also doesn't have amazing size. He is 6'2", 253 pounds, which is fine, but his length is really the area that I worry about. He had sub 32-inch arms, and it shows up on the tape again, particularly as a tackler. He showed some issues at consistently wrapping up, and I think that his length is another thing that could really hurt his draft stock. Ryland is a very unique player because he is such a dynamic pass rusher. He has great pass rush moves, but he's not super explosive, he doesn't have incredible size, and he's got some inconsistencies against the run. I think he has some things that he needs to clean up, but I certainly could see him playing a role in the NFL, particularly on passing downs, because he is so good with his hands. He's my number 25 edge rusher in the draft class, and my number 167 overall prospect. I think Ryland is a pretty scheme-specific prospect right now. With his lack of explosiveness and the struggles he had against the run, I think Ryland will probably start his collegiate career as a designated pass rusher, and a player who is on the field on true pass sets. I think later on in his career he can be a 3-down player in a 4-3 scheme as a true edge, but early on in the league, I think he is probably going to be a DPR. My player comparison for Antwaun Powell-Ryland is Dallas Cowboys edge rusher Carl Lawson. Lawson was a creative and active pass rusher when he was coming out, who showed the ability to win in a variety of ways despite not being the most explosive nor being the longest edge rusher in the world. I think Ryland is a little bit more flexible than Lawson, and Lawson is a little bit better against the run. But in terms of measurables, play style, and where they kind of were coming out of the draft, I see a lot of similarities in the two, and Lawson has gone on to have a pretty productive career in the NFL. I think Ryland could have a very similar future. Antwaun Powell-Ryland is a creative rusher. He wins in a variety of different ways and can be an impactful pass rusher in the NFL from day one. I am a fan of his game, and ultimately, I believe that Antwaun Powell-Ryland will be a 4th round pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.